We need to get the basics right first, is a statement we hear all too often. Why? What is HR's obsession with getting the basics right? And why do HR teams and leaders think they need to focus on the basics before they can be strategic? Welcome to Talking HR Trends with Natal and Tom, where we explore the latest hot topics and business challenges impacting the people side of organisations. Stick around to the end for our practical top tip, and if you like this video, please subscribe to be notified of the next in the series. Hi Tom, the birds are awake for spring, it seems, over in Scotland. What's it like where you are?
I ran this morning 10K and it was a beautiful run. And
nice.
So the spring is coming.
Excellent. I'm excited. Okay, so today we're focusing on this topic of getting the basics right first. And whenever I speak to people about designing people strategy and HR strategy, it seems that the conversation quite quickly moves into the area of, oh yes, but we've got to get the basics done before we can go and focus on the more strategic projects for the business. So let's clarify this first. What do you think is meant by this statement, we've got to get the basics right first? What's going on?
I must make sure I end up in a positive spirit here. But I have observed many HR teams and there's always a list of excuses not to do things. And on that list, you will recognize it. One is management does not understand us.
Yeah.
They don't know what HR is. Another excuse is, HR is not in senior management, it's not in the management team. Excuse number 2. And then always in that list of excuses is, but first we have got to get the basics right. And we have to implement our big HR information system. And last excuse is, we don't have enough capacity. We need more people.
Yes.
I think it's all excuses not to do things.
Oh, that's a bit controversial there, Tom, but I like it. So let's take this a little bit further. Let's start to challenge this notion of the need to get the basics right first. So what I'm starting to be concerned about is that possibly it leads to working on things before we know the problem that we're trying to solve. So, before we write the handbook, before we look at the performance management process or the right kind of organizational design or career pathway to set up, shouldn't we know what we're trying to solve and actually help the business, achieve? So my concern is it that we're working on things that we might have to then just change once we start being more strategic. What's your thoughts there?
I totally agree with you. Why do you have all the basics right if you don't know what you're going to do? Is that really necessary? And often It's not necessary. It's a little bit like taking the HR. What are the basics? And you can take the HR handbook, and then start implementing the HR handbook. But for what sake? So I think it's absolutely not necessary. But people don't like that. They like things to be complete. Also, consultants like that. If you ask consultants what should you do, they always say, but it's not integral, it's not connected, it's not. So consultants say it, and also people in supervisory boards, for example, they like that as well. So, but what are you doing here and what are you doing there? We don't see any talent management, or where's your succession management, and where. Before you know it, you have a super long list and you can be busy. Sorry, it gets me excited, but you can be busy for years getting the basics right. It's not a matter of days, it's a matter of years. And then your company buys another company where it is a big mess. And there you go again. Integration, getting the basics right in the other company. In the meantime, the world has moved on. And people are saying, what exactly is HR doing?
Yeah. So I think this is the point, isn't it? Is that actually there's only so many things we can do. And some of these things take a huge amount of effort and time. So we've got to focus on the most important things, the most important problem to solve, and really do that first. And as you said, maybe that might be that some things aren't fully complete yet, or we're still in this kind of iterative stage. But is that a problem? Actually, maybe that's okay. That's what organizations are like, aren't they? So where I see this become a very big issue and actually have some lasting impact, which is not always positive, is in startups. And I know you've talked a lot about this in the past as well. So as startups start to scale and they go past, the infamous Dunbar number of 150 and personal relationships can't be maintained as easily, often they look for HR and for a HR lead because they need more kind of guidance in organizational design and development. But unfortunately, a lot of the first activities that this HR lead does is, write the handbook or just focus on filling the vacancies rather than thinking about, well, what's the culture and the talent mix that this startup needs to be successful? So what are your thoughts here? I know you've talked a lot about this in the past. What's going on here?
Yeah, and it justifies a separate recording as well, this subject. So apologies.
Let's do it.
Often smaller companies look in admiration to big companies and say, oh, we should do what the big companies are doing. And then maybe the worst thing they can do is hire an experienced HR manager from a big company who enters the scale up and says, oh, what do I see here? There's many things to do. So I think that's a big pitfall. There's an opportunity for smaller companies who become bigger to leapfrog and to skip things and not to do things. Still, there are some basics. So it's that you better have right. For example, selecting the right people. Well, I think that's a basic that is super, super important. Spend time on selecting the right people and don't compromise there. And that you often see with smaller companies that grow fast. They need people, and then they start compromising. We cannot find the level we want, so let's take the B types. Don't do that, because that is a recipe for a lot more HR you need, because then you have people that don't perform, you need to develop, blah, 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 blah. So better spend a lot of time on making sure you select the right people.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I'm going to take you up on that. I think we should do a video on that topic as well, Tom. That's a very important one. Thanks for that. Really great insights. And I think it's good to challenge this notion, because what is the most valuable thing to work on and why for your business, and really go after that first.
Can I say one more thing?
Definitely.
An area where it also, you see it a lot, is in data and data. That people, but first we have to have the data definitions.
Yes.
So you spend a lot of time on data, and then we have to clean up the data. And so their people analytics efforts are delayed and delayed and delayed.
Yes.
Well, of course it's good if you have, you need good data, but you can use clever software these days also to clean up your data, to work with incomplete data. So maybe it's better to start working with the data you have instead of going through this sequence of first we have to get the basics right.
Exactly. It just serves to slow HR teams down. And I'm going to make that our practical top tip, actually, Tom, because I think data sort of symbolizes this topic very well. Everyone always talks about, we're going to do people analytics, but I need to do a big cleanup exercise first. But a much better way to approach it is, what is the problem you want to solve and why? So what are you going after? Then go and look at the data that you already have. And I don't know about you, but a lot of HR teams I work with are quite surprised at what they're already collecting. Then once you know the problem, you've got a certain amount of data, you can either analyze that or then start adding to the mix. And this means you'll be much more targeted and actually get a solution at a much faster or a quicker pace. So that's the way to go about it. What's the problem you're trying to solve? Go and look at your data and then take it from there, rather than slowing you down with a big, cleanup project first. Thanks for your time again today, Tom. It's been really great talking to you. This is Talking HR Trends with Natal and Tom. If you like this video, please subscribe for the next in the series. Thanks for your time today.